How's it going, YouTube? Welcome to Upside DIY. So I've got a few stereos onto top of the shelf. There, got these helmets, and then I've got to just clean off. So I got a little bit of polishing stuff, and then also clean off some of the residue on this helmet. There's a few spots here and there, but you know, might as well clean this off first, and then clean off a pair of shoes. So I just sprayed some on this rag and it's working. A few spots here and there. Can't really see it, but I could really feel it and stuff. So be cleaning this all more really tough spots. It's just yeah. Just it's so yeah, a few spots, a lot of spots, but just mainly the top right now. The rest I'll probably have to have a cleaner wax basically and clean that off, but so that's pretty much as clean as I could get it for now. And then I gotta look for some polishing, just seeing stuff with the gluing stuff. Some more shoe glue, and then I've got a mixing cup, and then I just need kind of a long popsicle stick, I would think. So I've got pretty much a lot of heel here. I might even clear epoxy, just section a little bit. I'm just trying to pretty much uh, not rush or do too much, but which I'm probably going to do so that things will stick a little better, and then add some of this stuff. So there's some of the sugar, and I'm going to spread it evenly, just a thin layer at first, and then try to use up half on each shoe so that I use up all of it. So, just kind of learning from the situation. So I think I'm going to do it good this time. And then I actually added like epoxy, yeah. So I'm going to add the paint and shoe glue on top of the clear. Alright, so this is where a piece of tape would be good, where I wouldn't have to worry about, you know, going too far on the heel. But right, so so this popsicle stick, extends the right amount, and I could, pretty much level out. If this side was lopsided and this was low or higher and lower, I could kind of tap it and level it out as much as I could, and basically have most of this repaired. Monitor this a little bit, and I did have to add some tape. It was starting to run a little bit, so last time I put the tape on first, so it's really important to monitor stuff, and pretty much yeah, added a little bit more of only the clear just because I didn't feel like mixing and doing a lot of other stuff. So this other shoe seems to be okay as long as it's leveled. Just only that one shoe, but also this one I might as well add some of the clear and electrical tape, just because a pair of work boots repair. So you kind of see how much more I needed to actually have this just right. So I added the tape right, or one edge of the tape is right where the rubber could grab it, and then now I just have to add a little, a long $6. I try to repair 2 pairs of shoes. I've got to keep monitoring it so if you're not rested, finish things up a little bit. But that could be on the next shoe repair and things like that, or sanding and then painting, touch up painting, stuff like that. you know, a few of the. I'm gonna add the shoe goo into the paint. So there's quite a lot in there, or not a lot, but just a lot of shoe goo for shoe goo. And then I also can, you know, just put a light coat of the shoe goo at first, and then this stuff compared to, and also just some of the glue. It just wasn't doing that good. After not exactly perfect, but you know, it's as good as I could get it. Had, you know, just did little sections at a time, basically three, and that's as good as I'm gonna get it for the first shoe. Compared to, besides getting it really close onto the edge and things like that, I just don't want to pick at it too much, and then finished up, and then with the Q-tip, then now the rest. All right, so this is the other shoe. The paint is pretty much. It doesn't really, you know, it's not running, or it's pretty much, you know, the glue could be pushed around and the paint won't really have bad running. And you know, I'm not really trying to, you know, make it like, I mean, it's going to stay and dry and harden, but I'm going to probably coat or repair as much as I can with the 5-minute epoxy for the last part on these shoes. And basically any shoe that could fit, that fits, and this stuff. And how I use crazy glued most of this, and then I'm gonna end up sanding it. But I can do it that way. But I think I'm gonna just do little sections. You know, this might be this much, and then this much. So I'll be right back. So I guess I'll call it epox, but instead of mixing it on a separate piece of material, I'm going to just dab it right on where I need to, and then kind of, you know, mix it, and then try to squeeze anything in there. It's going to be more effective. Or piece also, I might have to, you know, just a melted tip piece of a plastic. So hopefully, I'll be right back. All right, so I used a skinny spatula Q-tip piece. So, and I was able to push in it underneath, and now I'm just kind of holding the epoxy. I could kind of move it, push it back and forth, just to kind of also set the epoxy, and also feel the epoxy trying to work, and maybe scrape off anything. So I'm going to free up my other hand, and then try to see if I could add some more of the epoxy. Might have, you know, sometimes some repairs, it's just gotta do it just right. It's actually the real facts, but let's just try to do this. Alright, so it's working. Did pretty much 2 sections, but it basically, and I was able to kind of wedge some any excess. I could have really did this separately, this front that starts to come loose and stuff. Stuff was with the stuff that was coming off. Let me try to keep pressing on it for the last time. Alright, so I went and washed my hands and let this dry a little bit more. If I could, you know, finally finish up. It's not hand on the inside of the shoe. So, but that's a little bit more solid. I just used the inside, my other hand. It's a little more solid compared to, and this side's already almost solid. I don't want to, but I really want to try to eventually, if things, uh, you know, start coming loose and stuff. So let's just double check your shoe and just kind of hoping some of this works pretty good. So let's double check ahead of time to see, and just any of the flaws can be kind of, just section by section. That's just the main part is underneath this right here. So this tool, the small shoe gluing, is working out really good. I didn't expect this thing to be a perfect tool for this, but turns out it is, and I'll be right back. All right, so I use both hands, one on the inside and the outside, and it's basically hardened up. It's still, I could hear a little bit here and there. And sometimes, without giving good airflow and things, epoxy stays more fluid than, but it's okay, I think. It's just I kind of missed a little bit of a corner right there, and I'm not even sure with the rest of the shoe. Yeah, kind of thing else on this side. Yeah, so I just went probably 3 or 4 inches, so it's quite a lot, but I've got enough epoxy and I'll be right back. So I used both hands, and once it started drying, I was frictionizing, making sure everything was kind of locked in place. And once it gets locked in place, it should be glued basically. So but just kind of glad I got a few things finished up. I'm probably gonna go on a break and then stuff like that, and then probably epoxy as much as I can on this. I already have mainly shoe goo, paint, and shoe goo. If I could, finish up on a weatherproof, I'm trying to, basically, I've got a couple of harnesses, so I'm sorting out a few things. The chest harness for a GoPro or a pocket camera. A lot of these harnesses can be, I got to burn off the threads, and then pretty much if I have to sew it together or make it stiffer, I have 2 pairs of jeans. Besides the shoe repairs, which I'm also constantly trying to sort out and finish up, I've got other materials. This is actually like a big umbrella for like an outdoor table. I would say it's a pretty large umbrella. I could use it as some type of tarp. I might try to weatherproof this. Just depends how much lacquer, even just so I can make a raincoat basically. Decide if I should use lacquer or clear silicone. And then I've got a few like other luggages. I've got nothing in this one, this gray one, but I do have a small matching like small lunch bag. And then stuff like that. But these 2 backpacks used to be my tool bags. I used to have pretty much like shaving bags, like little, well, just basically have wrenches and sockets and stuff, and then have these backpacks still pretty much cleaned and washed, and then was able to get some of the glue onto this back piece and stuff. And then after that, I pretty much individually glued each side, just applying the glue. I didn't even mix it, on a separate piece of paper or anything. I just put it where I needed it, started mixing it and spreaded it. It's really tough to say how I did because it's not as, professional. Or on this side, I So, after